Hi, my name's Shep Hyken. I'm very excited to introduce you to my new book, The Cult of the Customer, How to Create an Amazing Customer Experience that turns satisfied customers into customer evangelists. So let's go ahead and get started. Now this tip's going to be a little bit longer than most of my tips because we're going to introduce you to the 5 cults that reside in the cult of the customer. A number of years ago, I identified 5 phases that customers went through from the time they first started doing business till the time they hopefully eventually became loyal to that company. And what I discovered is that the same phases happen inside an organization as well. In other words, what's happening inside a company is also being felt by the customer on the outside of the company. And what I did is I changed the names of these phases to be called cults. And I'm playing off the word culture, a culture that is fanatically focused on taking care of their customers and employees. So the first cult that I'd like to talk about is the cult of uncertainty, which is the lowest cult. And unfortunately, this is where most companies reside. At best, they're marred with the word inconsistency. And at worst, they're just giving unacceptable, sometimes even atrocious service. But again, it's sometimes good, sometimes bad. The customer doesn't know what to expect. So how do you get out of the cult of uncertainty? Well, a number of things have to happen. You have to hire the right people for the right job. You have to train them properly to make sure they understand not only what it is they're supposed to do in the job, but also the soft skills necessary to take care of the customer. But most important, and this is what gets us out of the cult of uncertainty, is we want to get them into alignment, which happens to be the name of the next cult, the cult of alignment. So what is that? Well, you look at the vision statements and the mission statements of some of these companies, and some of them are quite long. The idea is to take those statements and bring them down to be, say, 1 sentence long, or maybe just several words long, creating, for lack of a better term, a mantra. That's right. For example, Outback Steakhouse has one of my favorite mantras. In a sense, it's a brand promise. It's 4 words long. Here they are. Great food, no rules. That's it. 4 words. Great food, no rules. The guest understands exactly what that means, and the employees understand they're to deliver to the guest a great experience, no rules. Whatever the guest wants within reason, and if they're capable of doing it, they will deliver. The Ritz-Carlton has another one of my favorite mantras. It's 9 words long. It's simply this: we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Now, they refer to this as their credo, and it's actually on a laminated card, and if you walk into any of the hotels around the world and you ask a Ritz-Carlton employee what the credo is, they'll recite it, and they'll show you the laminated card that's in their pocket. That, in a sense, is what I'm calling a mantra. And once your employees get it, understand it, and believe in it, they're moving into that cult of alignment. Now, once they're in alignment and the customer knows what that mantra is and they start to experience that mantra or that brand promise, they're moving into the next cult, which is the cult of experience. They experience the mantra, they like it, they come back, they experience it again 2 or 3 or 4 more times, eventually to the point where it's consistent and predictable, and they move into the 4th cult, which is the cult of ownership. That's right. The cult of experience and the cult of ownership are very tightly tied together. Basically, once the customer starts to experience what it is that you promise, and after 2 or 3, 4 times starts to know what's going to happen every single time, they now own that experience. They're in the cult of ownership. Now, moving to the next cult, which is the ultimate cult, which happens to be the cult of amazement, that's taking ownership to the next level. And it is simply this: I use the word amazement to describe it, although it's not necessarily amazing, blow me away, wow, this is incredible service. No, amazement is that the service is predictably, consistently above average. Once in a while, amazingly above average, but always above average. And when companies reside at this level, they're going to be beating out competitors. Price becomes a little less of an issue. Lots of good things happen as a result of being in the cult of amazement. And not every company is perfect, but when they're in the cult of amazement and there's a problem, a confrontation, a moment of misery, as I like to call them, these companies know how to take care of the customers in these situations. They're better prepared than most. They have a system in place. They understand what to do. Their employees are properly trained to take care of them. And the goal is not to just fix a problem when the customer has a problem, but to reestablish confidence, perhaps creating an even greater confidence than if the problem hadn't taken place at all. So that is the cult of amazement. And by the way, this is the cult you want to belong to. So there you have it. The 5 cults. The cult of uncertainty at its lowest level. Moving into the cult of alignment. Once in alignment, we want to move that customer to experience that alignment, that mantra. And once they experience it several times and it becomes predictable, the customer owns it. They're in the cult of ownership. And if we create predictable, consistent, above average experiences, then we'll be in the cult of amazement, which is where you want to belong. So, I hope you enjoyed this short tip and introduction to the cult of the customer. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to visiting with you on the next tip from the cult of the customer.